My name is Sean Zashi from CA Ventures. We're a large investment management firm based in Chicago, so we're all a long way from home and jet lagged at the moment, but very happy to be here. We are, as the front end of a couple weeks we're spending over here really on two fronts, looking at opportunities with institutional and other investors, also evaluating opportunities to find partners and opportunities to invest in Asia and Australia, in particular on the student housing and residential sides of our business. See if I can figure out how to work this thing. So we're a unique company. We have about 10 billion of assets under management, counting our pipeline. That's probably closer to 13 or 14 billion. We are unique in that we are a fully integrated operating company driven business. So we have a centralized investment management platform, and then across our platforms in student housing, multifamily, senior housing, industrial, and office, we've built individual companies that are vertically integrated, everything from site sourcing, from basically the CEO through site sourcing down through property management, asset management, investment management. Not many firms that do that, kind of the best of both worlds, capital management and institutional real estate asset management. Track record is one of our things that we're most proud of. We have a 34 IRR across about $4 billion of asset sales. There's not many groups that can claim that. We have about 1,400 employees today, founded back in 2004 by our CEO, Tom Scott, who's here. We have about 5 of us, so very happy to talk to any and all of you guys that maybe we're not meeting with specifically. And if we're double booked, we're happy to have some other conversations. Not here presenting any individual asset opportunities, but across our companies, we manage really everything from individual investors to large global pension fund clients through various joint ventures and discretionary funds that we oversee. Strategy-wise, we're generally very demographic driven. As you can tell from the sectors that we're in, we're looking for very stable investments, stable cash flow. We're a long-term investor. In addition to the U.S., which he mentioned, we're very active in Europe and Latin America. I know a lot of the people here are probably largely focused on Asia and Australia, which is where we're kind of looking at next. But maybe show of hands, how many people are actively investing in the U.S.? 3. How many in Europe? Also 3. How about Latin America? Probably 0. No surprise. As I alluded to, this is how we're set up. Basically have product-focused, vertically integrated operating companies with dedicated executive teams and platforms. We have a centralized investment management platform, and then that oversees basically all our investment decisions and asset sourcing, and then every company is operated individually below that. So again, very unique. Usually have a fund manager or an operator. We have both. Investment-wise, most of our growth has been through development historically. We've been one of the largest builders in student housing and senior housing in particular. More recently, as we've continued to expand the company and now have a 1,400-person operating business, we're now much heavily focused on acquisitions, in particular in the student housing sector. We've been active in value-add acquisitions in senior housing, and most of the other sectors right now we're largely growing through development. I'll spare you the details on the history. If anyone we're meeting with, we can tell you more about that in the booth, but you can see that we started the company, or Tom started the company back in 2004. Really his vision has been to grow these businesses and create new businesses over the evolution of CA Ventures. Started with student housing back in 2008, and most recently with industrial and Europe in 2018. You can see just some, hard to see, but some graphics of the types of real estate we own. Very core, very institutional. In the student housing sector, we're focused on basically the largest state schools in the U.S. More than 20,000 kids. We want to be within 2 or 3 blocks of campus, within 2 or 3 blocks of the nightlife areas, and really a high amenity, much like you'd see in some markets in Australia and in London as well, but high amenity, high service, very differentiated product and across the board. The senior living business is a very demographically driven and data-driven strategy. targeting higher income demographic suburbs of major cities around the US, largely through development, primarily private pay, assisted living with some independent living and memory care components to those as well. Residential, we have two main strategies. Our core development business, and we're trying to really differentiate it from a product because there's a lot of guys doing multifamily development in the US and elsewhere. We're trying to build, in core markets, building smaller units that have lower price points, and also building bigger units that provide an opportunity for empty nesters who want to sell their house and move into urban areas to relocate and have space. And then we have a strategy called EGHT, which is Education, Government, Healthcare, Technology, which is looking at some like capital cities and some places that are maybe less on the radar of the broader institutional investment universe that have very stable employment bases through government employees, university employees, things like that. So it's kind of a building workforce housing for middle and upper middle class employees in major cities. International is really an extension of our student housing business. I think we've taken about a $500 million portfolio, looking to build about $500 million of projects a year in Europe. Probably get into the core acquisition space just like we're doing in the US right now. Primarily right now, we have 3 assets under construction in the UK. We have a handful of others that are in process in the pipeline and actively expanding in Ireland, but Ireland, Netherlands, Italy, and Spain. Industrial's a newer business. Started that last year. It's about as competitive on finding deals as possible in the US right now, but we hired a few of the best guys in the industry to help us source there. All growth through development currently, but one of our the sectors that we're most excited about as we grow over the next couple of years. Then I have our beautiful faces. Got a couple minutes left. Any questions that anybody has? Otherwise, we can talk to everybody in the one-on-ones and during happy hour. Yes?
So across those sectors, are you looking to invest out in Asia at this point in time? Obviously, you've got a strong pipeline in Europe and the US.
Yeah, I think that's the next frontier for us. So part of what we're doing over here is talking to people about opportunities in Asia and Australia. I think Australia ranks pretty high as far as our next places to focus. So we'd love to find opportunities. We do a great job of partnering with developers and operators and folks, and we can bring our industry expertise on operating student housing and designing student housing to work with local landowners, developers, et cetera, that might have opportunities to partner up. Okay. Tom, any questions? You look like you're going to ask something.
Sean, what do you do with your free time generally outside of work and stuff like that? No, I'm just curious. I'm having fun with it. Have a seat, boss.
A lot of golf. I'm going to talk to the guy about his golf thing later.